Nice Group 2022, and this is Truck Case Study 2, Jim. Jim drove heavy vehicles and tankers for the past 10 years and was qualified for international carriage of dangerous goods by road. That's something we'll be doing later on in this course. Class 3 goods. Class 3 is flammable liquids.
Flammable goods.
So, no, not goods. Flammable liquids. Okay? It's flammable solids and flammable liquids. This is, I don't know who wrote this, but like I say, you can find lots of mistakes in this one. Class 3 goods for the past 7 years. So it shouldn't say goods. In ADR, there's no grey area. There's no ambiguity. Everything is spot on. Even the signs are 400 by 250 by 250, and the letters and numbers on them are a certain height, and the border around the outside is so many millimeters. Everything is exact in ADR. This morning, Jim's job was to take an empty tanker to a fuel distribution depot. He collected his documentation from the traffic clerk, I assume that's a transport manager, and made sure he was carrying his ADR authorization and driver's digital tachograph card. When you pass your ADR exam, okay, you can have core or basic, so you can carry pallets of stuff around, and then you get tankers, which is a separate exam. Okay, that's your ADR authorization card. It's another like your credit card, and your tachograph card, you know, obviously. He downloaded the card only 5 days ago. His truck was fitted with a digital tachograph. How often do you have to download your digital to a tachograph card?
28 days.
No later than 28 days. Jim needed both documents today because of the type of work he was doing. After completing his vehicle's check, that's his morning walk around. How long does that take?
15 minutes.
Recommended, yeah. He signed the nil defect box. So he's gone through his whole walk around. He's found nothing wrong. So instead of checking dozens of boxes, he just ticked the box at the bottom saying nil defect. So he ticked the nil defect report form. Jim checked all the safety equipment to make sure it complied with his ADR authorization. Okay, he drove to the fuel depot with the empty tanker. The tanker was a rigid 4-axle. Maximum weight of a 4-axle?
42 tons.
Maximum length of a rigid?
12.5 or 12.
12 meters. Fitted with single wheels, providing extended tracking. Now, there's this theory that a single wheel rather than a double wheeled extended tracking gives more grip on the road, but that's still being debated by certain people. It had road-friendly suspension. The design gross vehicle weight of 32 ton, 32,000 kilograms, as we said. The maximum DGVW for a 4-axle is 32 ton. It was 3.7 meters high. What's the maximum height of a truck?
4.65.
And had the most up-to-date tanker specifications and fuel compartments. Okay, Jim arrived at a fuel distribution depot and complied with all the site and safety regulations pointed out by the depot supervisor. He noticed a familiar difference in how the truck handled with the full load of liquid, especially if he relaxed the foot brake when stopping. Okay, so you can feel the fuel sloshing around in the back. Remember the 80-20 rule?
Yeah.
Feel it below 20% or more than 80%. Okay, but it says up here that you had compartment, or the latest in international tanker to a fuel distribution type of work checks, fit with single wheels.
Had 3.7 meters and had the most up-to-date tankers.
The truck being the latest, blah blah blah. So it should have surge plates. Surge plates to stop the fluid going forwards and backwards, and baffles stopping the fluid going from side to side. But you'll notice a huge difference between an empty truck and a full truck. Today, Jim was to deliver a load of diesel to a large haulage yard. He had delivered to this yard before, so he was able to carefully plan his route. The correct route to the haulage yard had a bridge with a weight restriction of 20,000. So can you go over that?
No.
Certainly not. Certainly not. There was also a low bridge just before the haulage yard, but he knows the height is 3.7, and that would be displayed clearly in the vehicle, won't it?
Yes.
It's a law to display the height of the vehicle clearly in the vehicle, and that includes your load, not just the height of the vehicle. What's the exception to the height rule? If your vehicle is 3.7 and you can't have a load on the back that sticks up above 3.7, what's the exception? What's always the exception in Ireland?
Hey.
Yeah, agricultural vehicles can stack higher than that. Okay, that's why those hay and straw trucks always dragging down phone lines. way, Jimmy came across a robot with a detour sign that directed him onto an unfamiliar road. He knew the detour would add time to his route, so he picked up speed. That's not wise, is it? While driving around a sharp right-hand bend, what force is gonna go up on a bend?
Centrifugal, for sure.
Centrifugal. So what way is the load gonna go if you're taking a sharp right-hand bend?
Going to keep going straight left.
Go left.
It's gonna go to the left.
Yeah.
In the road, he hit the brakes slightly, which sends the centrifugal force up even more, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When he felt the wheels begin to lift slightly, he took his foot off the accelerator. If you're driving a 32-ton truck and the wheels come off the ground, yeah, I think you should lift your foot off the accelerator. What do you think? Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And drove to the outside of the bend. Was that the right thing to do? Lift your foot off the accelerator, drive to the outside of the bend?
If it was safe to do so, yeah.
Going to the way that
The wheels are just lifted off the ground. What do you mean if it's safe to do so?
Well, you'd go over to the other side, wouldn't you?
Yeah. You could hit the brakes, but that would make it worse, wouldn't it? He's already gone around this bend so fast that he's lifted the wheels off. Look, the wheels began to lift. So if he hit the brakes then, that would be a very dangerous situation, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So he took his foot off the accelerator and drove to the outside of the bend. That's all he can do. He shouldn't have been in that situation in the first place, but at that point, that's about all he can do. He then felt the wheels firmly on the road again. However, his relief was short-lived. Continuing on, Jim arrived at the foot of a long, steep incline. Is that up or down?
Up.
Decline is down. D for down. Halfway up the hill, he noticed a sign, a junction, which indicated that no large goods vehicles with 3 or more axles. How many axles in his? 4 were allowed. He knew that the detour route would be the shortest way back to his planned route, so he decided to ignore the sign. Soon enough, he joined up with his planned route. Okay, so it doesn't go on anymore about that. That's just not a wise thing to do. When Jim arrived at the haulage operator's yard, he braked to a stop. Just before he came to a final halt, he relaxed the brakes and felt a sudden force acting on his truck. What force is that?
Momentum.
Exactly.
Momentum.
All the liquid rushing forwards. The operator asked him to dispense half the load at the site and deliver the other half to a different site. Jim agreed and carefully dispensed the fuel evenly from the correct compartments. So there's different compartments on his truck. It's not one big tank. However, he failed to notice a spillage. He then drove to his final drop-off point and unloaded the remaining fuel. Okay, so he had a spillage, but he didn't notice it, it says here. So there's not too much you can do about it if you didn't know about it, hey. But if you did notice a spillage, depending on what he was delivering, you'd clean it up and you'd definitely inform the bank staff, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
When I say depends on what you're delivering, if you're delivering petrol or fuel, it'd be okay to clean it up. If you spill a liquid and you don't know what it is, you don't know what packing group it is, you don't want to go anywhere near it in case it's highly dangerous, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, you see there's a few mistakes in this case study. That's case study 2. Please like and subscribe, as subscribing and liking my videos helps other people find them. Thank you.